Conor here at IESE Madrid, here for a couple of days teaching 3-day communications program. And what I wanted to talk about today is a story that comes from the Uruguay, the Andes. And 1972, there was a plane crash in the Andes. And one of the single best speakers I've ever heard, Nando Parrado. I remember Nando came to Barcelona back, what was it, 13, 14 years ago, and spoke about his experiences surviving this crash in the Andes. And the story was a rugby team was traveling from Uruguay over to Chile, and the pilots miscalculated a little bit where they were, and the plane struck the mountains in the Andes. The plane split in two, and there was 25 of the people on the plane survived the impact of the plane hitting the mountain. So there was 25 of them in the high Andes in the freezing cold, dressed for a weekend trip to a rugby game. And I remember Nando talking about, waking up on the ice, freezing cold, 19, 20 years old, and just trying to get a grip on the situation. And initially, when they were there, the first night was tough, but they got some shelter, and they managed to get the radio working on the plane. And the survivors, the 20 odd of them that had survived, were listening to the radio each afternoon, to the local news, the Chilean news, and at the end of the news they would quickly mention about that the plane crashed in the Andes and the search teams were out. But another of the people on this trip, Carlos Paez, talks about the most significant moment for him of this whole adventure. It happened on the 10th day. And on the 10th day, when they were up there in the freezing high mountains, they were listening to the radio, they were listening to the search for them happening, listening, waiting for news. And on the 10th day, at the end of the news, Carlos remembers the broadcaster on the news saying, the search has been called off for the plane that has crashed in the Andes. And some of the people there, when they heard this news, that the outside world had given up hope, they were stopping their search. A lot of them just collapsed, were crying, were devastated. But Carlos says this moment was the most important moment of the whole adventure, and maybe even of his life. Because he says that was the moment when they realized nobody is coming to save us. If we are to get out of here, the only people that are going to get us out of here are ourselves. And Carlos wrote a book about this day, this moment, the 10th day, where what could be seen as devastating, the terrible news that there's nobody coming to help. If you are to get out of this, if you're going to live, if you're going to survive, it's up to you. He said this so clarified what needed to be done. Not everyone was able to let go of the disappointment and focus on the new task, but it was something that focused the minds of a few of them, that they were going to have to walk out and find help themselves. And I think I spend a lot of time in my life thinking about commitment, thinking about the things we commit to. And so often I feel that we as human beings, we live our lives as if we're waiting for help to come. I often ask people, do you have a plan for your life? A written down plan for how you're going to achieve the things that are important to you, meet the people you want to meet, have the experiences that you'd like to have in a complete, full life. And most people don't have a plan written down. And my question is, what are you waiting for? No one is going to come in, take you by the hand, sit you down for a couple of days and write this plan for you. There's no help coming. There's no search party coming in from outside to find you where you are now and sit you down, interview you, and create a plan for what it is that you want to do with your life. I think human brain, the neocortex, is the part of our brain that allows us to plan, to imagine, to see things before they happen. And I think it's very important to use this part of our brain correctly, wisely, which is to take the time to get clear about the things that you want to live in your life and have a plan for your life. And really get clear. Nobody is coming to save you. There's no search team out there coming to save you. And Carlos says that for him, this moment was transformational. The realization, if I am to get out of here, if I'm to live, it's we ourselves that need to move forward and solve this problem. And I think in each of our lives, no one's coming to save you. Nothing's going to happen tomorrow, in a week, in a month that will save you. If the relationships you have around you are not fulfilling, nothing's going to happen tomorrow to save you. You need to commit to taking ownership and making those changes bit by bit, pulling in the resources, learning the skills, and determining that. And to me, Warren Rustand is one of the most important mentors I've met. And Warren Rustand often talks about three key things in a life: clarity of vision, certainty of action, values. Clarity of vision, you've got to get clear who you are, where you are, what do you want, and what are you willing to sacrifice to get the things that you want. And certainty of action, I often say to people, I think most people don't lack motivation. They lack clarity. They don't really know what's important, what's not important. So Carlos Paez learned that no search team was going to come and save them. A plan for your life, getting clear where you are, where you want to go, I think it's such an important part. You don't need to spend every hour of the week doing it. But I think at the very least, dedicating 1 hour every week to just stop and take stock of who you are, where you are, who you're with, what you're grateful for, what's working, what's not working, what you want more of, what you want less of. What do you want to start building? What do you want to be able to say about yourself in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years, in 30 years? What do you want to look back and be proud of? So no one's coming to save us. Message for today: get a pen and paper and just start putting together some ideas about what's good and you want to do more of, what's not so good and you want to do less of. And you can find millions of resources on YouTube, on Google, courses that will help you do this work of getting clear. What is the plan? So that you're not waiting for someone to come, Deus ex machina, and save you and sort things out. So Conor here in IESE Barcelona, or IESE Madrid. We're teaching in the old building here, but the new building has just been inaugurated over here. I'm going to head over and see how it's looking these days. So have a great one. Thank you for your likes, your subscribes, your comments, your questions. Keeps me making these videos thinking. I think one of the important things of making these videos is stopping and noting down what I'm learning, what I'm thinking, what I'm reading. So sharing with you is a way of me taking stock of what I'm learning as I go. So thank you for helping be part of that. Have a good one.